When you think of Paris Fashion Week, you think of lights, couture, and paparazzi flashes, capturing the who's who of the global elite. But no one expected the runway to turn into the stage for one of the most talked about proposals of the decade. French Montana, the Moroccan-American rapper who rose from the Bronx to hip-hop stardom, decided to bend the knee in front of the world. And the woman he chose wasn't just any model, actress, or industry starlet.
Was Sheikha Mahra a Dubai princess with royal blood?
A bold spirit, and a history that had already captivated international headlines. That single moment in Paris lit the fuse for weeks of gossip, speculation, controversy that only seems to grow louder with every passing day. The centerpiece of this engagement story was a ring-and 11.5-carat emerald-cut diamond, dazzling, icy, and almost surreal in its clarity. Experts called it a rare find, nearly flawless, and valued it around $1.1 million. To many it symbolized love, but to others, it was a flex and announcement, not just of commitment, but of status, wealth, and dominance. French Montana had built his career on flaunting luxury, from Bugattis to champagne-soaked music videos. But this wasn't a staged prop for MTV. This was a real diamond on the hand of a real princess. The symbolism was impossible to ignore. Still, the way the princess responded added another layer of intrigue. She didn't post a heartfelt caption on Instagram, no long declarations of passion or dreamy paragraphs about soulmates. Instead, she chose silence on a single post with 2 emojis, a white heart and sparkles. For her millions of followers, it was enough. A cryptic, wordless confirmation that left more questions than answers. Why so minimal? Why so mysterious? Some argued it was a gesture of class, subtlety befitting royalty. Others whispered that her restraint hinted at complications beneath the surface, perhaps reluctance, or maybe an awareness of how explosive the union would look in both the Arab world and the American music scene. But to fully grasp why this engagement rattled so many, you need to understand who Sheikha Mahra is. She's not just the daughter of Dubai royalty. She's a figure who built her own brand of boldness in a society that often values discretion. In a kingdom known for its carefully controlled image, she emerged as a glamorous outlier, flashing high-end fashion on Instagram, sharing moments of her life that most royals would keep behind closed palace doors, and even clashing with tradition in ways that earned her both admiration and criticism. She wasn't content to live in the shadows of her family name. She carved out her own identity, a princess with a public voice. It was this voice that had already shocked the world just a year prior. In a move unheard of for a royal, Sheikha Mahra announced her divorce on Instagram using the triple talaq, a highly controversial Islamic practice where a husband can end the marriage by declaring divorce 3 times. Instead of shame or secrecy, she turned it into a public declaration. And then, almost theatrically, she launched a perfume named Divorce. It was both defiance and branding, an act of rebellion against the norms of royal silence. That's who French Montana proposed to, a woman unafraid of controversy, unafraid of backlash, and unafraid of reinventing herself. French Montana's timing couldn't have been more cinematic. The proposal wasn't tucked away in a candlelit corner of a private palace. No, it happened in Paris, the city of romance, under the eyes of fashion's elite. Just minutes before, French himself had walked the runway for the Brand 3, Paradis, strutting not as a rapper but as a fashion figure. To many, it looked like a carefully orchestrated spectacle, rap royalty meeting real royalty, wrapped in the glitz of fashion's biggest stage. But to others, it was reckless. Some critics saw it as a publicity stunt, a ploy to push French Montana into a new level of global relevance. Others worried about the optics. Could a Dubai princess, from one of the world's most influential royal families, really marry into hip-hop culture without igniting waves of cultural and political tension? From the very first headlines, the engagement drew mixed reactions. Fans of French Montana celebrated it as a fairy tale come true. Social media swarmed with comments like, "From Morocco to the Bronx to Dubai's Palace, French really did it all." For many, he embodied the dream. an immigrant kid who fought his way to the top, now marrying into literal royalty. But on the other side, skeptics lined up to throw doubts. Some claimed Mahra was moving too fast, that her engagement was less about love and more about making a statement after her very public divorce. Others accused French of chasing status, rapper aligning himself with royalty for clout. Behind the glitter and gossip, one question lingered. How did these two even come together? Their romance had first sparked whispers in late 2024, when paparazzi caught Mahra showing French Montana around Dubai. They were spotted at cultural sites, intimate dinners, and luxury hangouts. Rumors snowballed, but the couple stayed quiet, never confirming, never denying, just letting speculation grow. By the time the engagement broke, their relationship had already been months in the making. But its public reveal made it feel sudden, almost explosive, and yet there's an undeniable chemistry to their story. French Montana's Moroccan roots give him a cultural connection to the Arab world that most Western celebrities lack. Born Karim Karbouch Rabi, he speaks Arabic, understands Islamic traditions, and has often embraced his heritage in his music and interviews. To some, this makes the pairing less shocking and more natural, an East meets West union with a shared thread of North African culture at its heart. But to others, it only intensifies the drama. If French understands the culture, then he must also understand the scrutiny, the gossip, and the political weight of marrying into Dubai royalty. Why would he step into such dangerous waters unless the stakes were worth it? The ring, the emojis, the runway, the whispers, each piece of this engagement feels like a breadcrumb leading to a bigger mystery. What lies ahead for this unlikely couple? Is it love, pure and simple, or a chess move on the global stage? And why does every detail from the size of the diamond to the absence of a caption seem to spark debate? One thing is clear. This isn't just another celebrity engagement. It's a collision of worlds, and the sparks are already flying. The question is, will those sparks light up a fairy tale wedding or burn into something far more scandalous? Every love story carries baggage, but when royalty and celebrity collide, the baggage is magnified into global spectacle. To understand why French Montana's engagement to Sheikha Mahra has stirred so much controversy, we need to rewind to one of the most dramatic chapters in modern royal history, Mahra's divorce. For centuries, Dubai's royal family has maintained an image of unity, discretion, and tradition. Marriages and separations are usually handled quietly, shielded from the public eye. But in 2024, Sheikha Mahra broke that mold with a single post. On Instagram, in front of millions, she announced the end of her marriage, invoking the triple talaq, an Islamic tradition where a husband can divorce his wife by repeating the word talaq 3 times. The act itself was controversial enough, but the way she broadcasted it shocked the world. Instead of silence or shame, Mahra chose transparency and defiance. She didn't hide. She didn't retreat into the palace. She went public, and by doing so, she disrupted centuries of royal silence. But she didn't stop there. Weeks later, she unveiled her own perfume line, and the debut fragrance was provocatively named Divorce. The message was loud and clear. She wasn't just surviving her split, she was monetizing it, branding it, turning personal upheaval into a bold public statement. Critics accused her of disrespecting tradition, of making light of a sacred institution. Supporters praised her for reclaiming her narrative, showing that even a princess could rise above scandal and turn pain into empowerment. That's the woman French Montana proposed to, one who was already a lightning rod for controversy. This background matters because it reframes the engagement. To some, Mahra's decision to accept French Montana's ring feels like a continuation of her rebellion. After breaking with her royal husband so loudly, was she now deliberately choosing a partner outside the aristocracy, a rapper from the Bronx? A man whose fame is rooted in Western culture, lyrics about women, money, and power? To her critics, it looked reckless, almost provocative. To her supporters, it looked like freedom, the freedom to choose love on her terms, regardless of class, tradition, or cultural expectation. But if Mahra had her controversies, French Montana brought his own. Known offstage as Kareem Karbosh, he made his way to the top of the music industry through sheer persistence, street hustle, and an endless string of collaborations with some of hip-hop's biggest names. And along the way, his personal life has been as public as his chart-topping hits. From rumored flings to high-profile relationships, most famously with Khloe Kardashian. French has often been cast in the media as the quintessential playboy rapper, a man surrounded by luxury, attention, and women, but never tied down for long. This history fuels doubts. Could a rapper with a reputation for fleeting romances truly settle into a life of royal commitment? Would his flashy nightlife-driven world mesh with the strict codes and expectations of Dubai's elite? Critics say no. They argue that French's engagement is a cultural clash waiting to explode. His lyrics, lifestyle, and past don't fit into the mold of what a princess's husband is expected to be. And yet this very clash is what makes the story magnetic. It's Romeo and Juliet in designer clothing, separated not by feuding families, but by cultural worlds colliding. The cultural questions swirl louder with every headline. In the Middle East, marriage isn't just personal, it's political, symbolic, and deeply tied to family honor. For a princess, marriage can reflect the values of her lineage, the expectations of her people, and the image of her nation. By saying yes to French Montana, Mahra hasn't just made a romantic decision, she's made a public symbolic one. And the symbolism is polarizing. Some see it as a step forward, proof that tradition and modernity can coexist. Others see it as reckless, a dilution of royal dignity with the wild unpredictability of celebrity culture. On the flip side, French Montana supporters celebrate the union as a victory for diversity, resilience, and global love. His story is one of struggle and triumph. Born in Morocco, raised in the Bronx, hustling through mixtapes before breaking into mainstream stardom. To see him ascend from immigrant rapper to royal fiancé feels like a testament to ambition and perseverance. In many ways, he embodies the very dream that hip-hop was built on, the idea that no matter where you come from, you can rise, you can shine, can sit at tables once reserved for the untouchable elite, yet even as supporters cheer, whispers of doubt persist. Insiders speculate about how the Dubai royal family views the engagement. Are they quietly supportive or silently disapproving? Thus far, no official statements have been released, fueling endless theories. Some gossip columns suggest French Montana has already met with Mahra's family and received their blessing. Others claim there's resistance behind closed doors, concerns about reputation and respectability. Without confirmation, the silence itself becomes fuel for controversy. Then there's the issue of lifestyle. French Montana thrives in an industry where parties, late nights, and public scandals are the norm. Sheikha Mahra, for all her rebellious streak, is still tied to the responsibilities of royalty, philanthropy, and the expectations of representing Dubai's future. Can these two worlds align? Or will the clash eventually fracture the relationship? These questions hang over the engagement like storm clouds, unresolved but ever present, adding more tension as the timeline. Some critics say the engagement came too quickly, barely a year after Mahra's divorce. To skeptics, it looks like a rebound, a dramatic rebound designed to outshine her ex and reassert her independence. To her fans, however, it's proof that she refuses to waste time living in the shadows of her past. If she's in love, why wait? Life is too short even for a princess. It's this duality, admiration on one side, criticism on the other, that keeps the world hooked. Every detail of their engagement becomes a battleground for interpretation. The $1 million ring, proof of French's devotion, or just another flex. The emoji post, a symbol of royal grace, or a sign of hesitation. The Paris proposal, a romantic spectacle, or a staged performance. As their story unfolds, it's impossible to ignore the broader cultural undertones. This isn't just a couple falling in love, it's a collision of East and West, tradition and rebellion, royalty and rap. It's a test case for how globalized our world has become, and how love can either bridge divides or deepen them. And the outcome remains uncertain for now. French Montana and Sheikha Mahra stand united, flashing their smiles, their ring, and their cryptic confidence. But beneath the glamour, the whispers grow louder. Is this love built to last? Or is it destined to unravel under the weight of history, culture, and expectation? The suspense only deepens as the world watches, waiting to see whether this engagement turns into a fairy tale wedding or a scandal that shakes both hip-hop and royalty. When French Montana slipped that $1 million diamond onto Sheikha Mahra's finger, it wasn't just a proposal. It was the beginning of a new chapter that reaches far beyond two individuals in love. For them, the future is not just about wedding bells, it's about navigating a maze of cultural expectations, family dynamics, and the eyes of a world that refuses to look away. At the center of this story is family. Sheikha Mahra's family ties connect her to one of the most powerful royal dynasties in the Middle East. With that comes influence, prestige, and pressure. The Dubai royals have long cultivated an image of unity and discipline, balancing tradition with modern progress. For a princess to marry a rapper whose lifestyle has often been under a magnifying glass, that's not just a personal choice. It becomes a question of image, diplomacy, and even cultural identity. So far, official reactions from her family remain cloaked in silence. No statements, no endorsements, no condemnations. To some, this quiet suggests disapproval and unwillingness to publicly acknowledge a match that might ruffle feathers. To others, the silence is strategic, allowing time for the dust to settle, for gossip to fade, for the world to normalize what initially seems shocking. In the absence of clarity, rumors flourish. Some insiders whisper that French Montana has already sought the blessing of senior family members and was surprisingly well received. Others insist that behind palace walls, concern brews over whether this union could undermine tradition. The truth may remain hidden. But one fact is undeniable. This isn't just a marriage between two people, it's a negotiation between two worlds. Then there's the matter of children. Sheikha Mahra is already a mother, and French Montana, who has a son from a previous relationship, is stepping into the role of stepfather. This blended family dynamic adds another layer of complexity. On one hand, it humanizes them, proving that, beyond the headlines, they are just two people building a life together, with kids at the center. On the other hand, it raises questions. How will they balance parenting across cultural lines? How will their children grow up under the weight of both royal expectation and celebrity spotlight? These are the questions fans and critics alike continue to ask. If family adds tension, the wedding itself adds spectacle. The world is already buzzing with speculation. Where will it take place? Will it be a private guarded ceremony in Dubai, attended only by royals and dignitaries? Or will it be an extravagant star-studded event, blending Hollywood flash with Middle Eastern grandeur? Some predict a split strategy, a quiet religious ceremony in Dubai, followed by a glamorous celebration in Paris, Morocco, or even Los Angeles. Wherever it happens, one thing is certain: the security will be immense, the media frenzy unstoppable, and the symbolism inescapable. A princess and a rapper standing together at the altar will be an image burned into history. But beneath the surface of romance and anticipation, a storm brews. Social media has become the battleground where this engagement is dissected, praised, and condemned. On one side are fans cheering what they see as a fairy tale. To them, French Montana's rise from Moroccan immigrant to global star, now marrying into royalty, is the ultimate success story. They flood Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with messages of inspiration, clips of the couple, and hashtags celebrating love without borders. On the other side, critics are relentless. Some question French's motives, accusing him of chasing status rather than love. Others attack Mahra, claiming she's turning her back on tradition or using the engagement to stay relevant after her dramatic divorce. Conspiracy theories even sprout claims that the engagement is a publicity stunt, carefully crafted spectacle to distract from deeper issues in either her royal world or his music career. The truth may be simpler to people in love, navigating a whirlwind, but the internet rarely accepts simple answers. What makes this engagement particularly fascinating is its broader symbolism. It's not just about two individuals, it's about East meeting West, tradition colliding with modernity, royalty blending with celebrity. In a world increasingly defined by global connections, their relationship feels like both a mirror and a test. Can love truly bridge cultures, or will the weight of expectation pull them apart? Can two people so public, so scrutinized, create something private and enduring? The suspense is amplified by the couple's own strategy. They don't over-explain, they don't post lengthy declarations or defensive responses to critics. Instead, they drop small hints, a picture here, an emoji there, a rare public appearance, just enough to keep people hooked, but never enough to satisfy curiosity. It's a game of withholding, and it works. Every gesture becomes news. Every silence becomes a mystery. And in that vacuum, stories multiply. For French Montana, this engagement is more than personal, it's transformative. He is no longer just a rapper with hits and celebrity girlfriends. He is now the rapper who won a princess. For Sheikha Mahra, it is equally defining. She is no longer just the princess who divorced on Instagram or launched a perfume named Divorce. She is now the royal who chose love on her own terms, even when it meant breaking expectations. Together, they are rewriting their narratives. Yet rewriting history is not without risk. Their love will be tested not only by personal challenges, but by the very weight of their public lives. Every disagreement, every misstep will be magnified. The press will search for cracks, rivals will spread rumors, and critics will pounce on any sign of weakness. The fairy tale is intoxicating, but so is the potential for scandal, and that's why this story refuses to fade. It sits at the intersection of romance, rebellion, and royalty, and the ending remains unwritten. Will French Montana and Sheikha Mahra walk down the aisle, silencing critics and proving that love can conquer culture? Or will their story unravel under the pressure, remembered not as a fairy tale, but as a cautionary tale of worlds that should never have collided? For now, the world waits. The princess and the rapper continue to move through life, trailed by cameras, speculation, and an audience hungry for answers. Every photo sparks debate, every silence invites questions. The diamond ring shines, but the story behind it remains clouded with mystery. The engagement of French Montana and Sheikha Mahra is more than gossip. It is a drama playing out in real time, filled with love, controversy, and suspense. And until the day they stand together and say their vows, until the day headlines announce something very different, we are left in the grip of anticipation, watching as one of the most unlikely love stories of our time unfolds before our eyes.